Let's get into the prediction. This is a big game for the 49ers. If they win it, if they lose it, what's at stake for the 49ers in this game?
Well, my concern is I cannot overlook Carolina. They haven't, packed their bags and, all that. They are a half a game out of the NFC South lead. They're 6-5 now. If Tampa Bay loses Sunday to the Rams and Carolina ends up for some reason winning Monday night, they're in first place in the NFC South. So they've got games for which to play for their own playoff ambitions. So, you cannot look lightly upon Carolina. So from that perspective, and the other thing is Monday Night Football, of course, the Niners always seem to shine, and you'll have Jerry Rice out there pregame strutting up and down the field, high-fiving everybody. You'll have a lot of electricity in the stands, in the fans and all that. And it'll be George Kittle's moment to shine on Monday Night Football in front of the nationwide audience. And so they're the only show in town. And so Kittle loves that. So he's going to be excited. McCaffrey's going to produce. So it'll be a good moment for them to put their best foot forward. Now, from the perspective that I would like to see is for the Niners, by the time the fourth quarter shows up, is to be able to have the game iced. Because I got to come back in a short week from a Monday night game. On Friday, I got to fly to Cleveland. I want to rest my guys and take hits away from them on Monday night in the fourth quarter and I hate to say this, I want to tell Kyle, do not give them needless repetitions. Do not expose these players like McCaffrey and Kittle and your other premier players to extra reps when the hay is in the barn and the game is over and you're out there padding stats and running plays to jack up yardage and all that kind of stuff and get guys Pro Bowl votes. You need to look beyond this ball game, win the thing in the first three quarters, get a series in the fourth quarter, and then start to judiciously substitute, thinking forward to what you're going to see the following Sunday with a short week, going to Cleveland, playing probably, it ain't going to be 72 degrees and sunny in Cleveland, okay? Let's understand something. By the end of November, it is not, Chamber of Commerce weather in Cleveland, Ohio. So I've got to be able to, that game I need. I've got players in Cleveland defensively who are going to really cause me concern from an offensive perspective. So I want to ice this ball game Monday night and make it a blowout by the end of the third quarter, dominate the clock, restrict the opportunities for Bryce Young to be able to throw the ball for 400 plus yards. He's normally 185, 187 yard a game quarterback. Okay. So the best way to do that is to dominate offensively and then be able to substitute and pull my guys, rest them up, get them fewer hurts. Because, hey, come Wednesday now, here's the other thing is important, is with that less, I give my veterans a day off. Normally Wednesday, there's no practice for Trenton Williams. There's no practice for McCaffrey. There's limited work for Kittle. So now I've got, only a Thursday and a Friday morning practice before we get on a plane and fly to Cleveland. So I want to rest them as much as possible because they have one less day of recovery also. And when they're aging as they are, recovery is important.
So what you're saying is, even though it's Bryce Young and they're 6-4 and they have a lot to play for, the Niners should win this game. The biggest test that they face in the next few weeks is next week on a short week, on the road, potentially in the cold, in the rain, against Myles Garrett and Jim Schwartz, who's 9-1 against Kyle Shanahan. Even though it's probably going to be Shedeur Sanders, who might be awful, that is the real test for the 49ers because they're winning by scoring lots of points. It's going to be a lot harder to do that against Cleveland.
True. That's why it's important for my players to understand that our goal is to put this game away, put the car in the barn as quickly as I can and with as much dominance as I can demonstrate so that we can pull some guys and then get ready for Saturday, the walkthrough in Cleveland, and then go play on Sunday because it's going to be, plus you're going from West Coast to East Coast. It's a 10 a.m. kickoff. The other thing I would do is I would practice at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to get the players' body clock used to being on the field wearing pads at the same time we're kicking off on Sunday in Cleveland.
They lose that game in Cleveland, they could miss the playoffs. That's a really interesting test. They got to get through Carolina first. Do you think this game will go according to the 49ers' plans? Do you think they'll be essentially done with the game early in the fourth quarter? Give me a score.
I say that the Niners should be able to hang minimum of 27-30 on Carolina. And if they can dominate the clock with the run game and a short passing game and mix it up and keep it clean, you should be able to restrict the amount of staff that Carolina gets. And Carolina should get no more than maybe 13 or 17 points, because I'm not going to let them have the ball long enough. And so when they do get the ball, they're going to have to be able to try to push it down the field, which means they're going to have to play out of their normal character because they're going to be playing catch-up football. So, yeah, I want to be able to control the clock and find a way to take the out of the ball, so to speak, and keep my possessions long enough to where I can let Carolina sit on the bench and watch the game.
I like your prediction. I have a feeling Carolina is going to score more than 17. I just don't think much of this defense. I don't think Robert Saleh is even trying to do much. I think he has every excuse. People understand he doesn't have Nick Bosa. He's just hanging back. And if he uses that game plan he used last week against Bryce Young, I think they score 24, 25. I still think the Niners get over 30. They could probably get to 34. I'm going to say 34, 24.
See, but now this goes back to my thinking as a coach also, though, is my offense in this ball game can be my best defense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And see, that's why I'm going to say, okay, offense, here's what our goal is. Here's what our objective is. We cannot let Bryce Young be out there throwing for 450 yards. We can't let them have 65 or 70 snaps in this ball game. We've got to restrict the amount of snaps that they get so they don't have as many opportunities to wear out the defense and go up and down the field playing pitch and catch, because we're not a great sack team. So we cannot think that we can make them go, 3 and out by getting the sack on third down and it's 2nd and 10 and make it go to 3rd and 17, 3rd and 18. That's not the Niners defense this year.
That's exactly how the Niners beat the Seahawks week 1. It feels like a long time ago. They won 17-13, and the Niners had the ball for almost 39 minutes. So they didn't score a lot of points with their offense, but they did play defense with their offense, and it was a big reason why they won.
Well, I think that's the best way. Considering the status of the Niners defensively, that's the best strategy that they can have. The key thing now, does Kyle have the patience and the understanding of what he needs to do with this offense to be able to help the defense and not just make it a scoring track meet? You don't want to get into a 42-35 ball game. That's not what the goal is. I want to win, but I don't want to win big. I want to win decisively, and I want to restrict the number of snaps that Carolina gets.
Right, I see. Like you could beat the Cardinals in that kind of a game because it's Bam Knight and Michael Wilson. But in this game with Ted McMillan and Xavier Legette and Bryce Young and Rico Dowdle, there's some actual explosive playmakers on this side. Be smart on offense and win the game in a slower pace.
Correct. And by the same token, Carolina needs this win. So they're not, 2-8. They're not, calling the Beacons band and making arrangements to come pack up their
like Arizona was last week.
Correct. These guys are looking for the playoffs. They're a half a game out of first place. So they're going to approach this game as a must-win situation. And so I've got to be able to take the starch out of their sails and be able to restrict their ability offensively to utilize the weapons that they have. So the best for me is a good offense.
I like that. It's funny. I saw Robert Saleh in the locker room after the Niners beat the Seahawks week 1. He was so happy. It was his first game back from getting fired with the Jets. And he said, man, if only we had this kind of an offense in New York that could just hold the ball, we never would have lost. I mean, he was so overjoyed to have a ball control offense. That's exactly what he needs right now.
Well, he does need it. The Niners need a ball control offense to help the defense. And as a coach, you got to sit down with your staff and say, okay, what do we need to do, or what do we have to do to be able to win the game? Okay, we got to reduce the number of snaps our defense is on the field. The best way to do that is to control the ball offensively, have long drives, chew up the clock, be efficient, no penalties, no sacks, no giveaways, no FIPS, as we call it, fumbles, interceptions, penalties, and sacks. And, that way, the fewer snaps that you get defensively, Salo will be happy.
Well, I mean, you got an offense where Christian McCaffrey's catching 77% of his targets, George Kittle's catching 90% of his targets. That you should be able to stay on the field and matriculate up the field slowly if you are smart. So that's got to be the game plan.